All right, I think we're live.
Are we
So
live?
we are live. Welcome everybody to season 2, episode 7. Unfortunately, we just found out that Kevin Harrington, our guest, is having to reschedule, but we're going to keep the show going, and Jonathan and I are going to talk about a few different things. So if you came to see Kevin, we're sorry, but we'll make sure we keep it interesting for you, and we do want you guys to actually type out any questions that you'd like us to ask Kevin when we have him on live, because we are planning to reschedule it in the next couple of weeks. So if you're watching now, definitely put in the comment box any questions that you'd like to ask Kevin Harrington, the original shark from Shark Tank. So we want to stay within the theme of our title, which is successfully pivot during uncertain times. We're month 3, 4, 5 with COVID-19 now. This is as uncertain as ever of a time, and there's been a lot of companies, that I've personally been counseling from a legal side that have had to pivot. Jonathan, I know you're running a number of businesses, including Pitch Investors Live, and you've had to have some pivots as well. So we're going to talk through those and talk amongst ourselves and actually encourage our audience to chime in and let us know about times when maybe you've had to pivot and some tips that you may have for other audience members or questions that you may have for us. So what's going on, Jonathan? How you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. I really actually like when we get to have our little discussions. If you guys don't know, me and Adam go like way back since like elementary school. One of the few of like hardly any of my friends that we've been, just stuck it out for so long and have similar values. So it's always fun to chit chat, not just interviewing other people, but just having fun. So like, as you guys know, if you see it in the title here, and Adam just explained, so we're rescheduling Kevin, I think, to 2 weeks from now. We'll prepare even more. We want to hear questions from you guys. First of all, let us know where you guys are from. If you guys are anywhere around the world, just tell us where you're from so we can see who's tuning in. Because as you guys know, Pitch Investors Live and Pitch the World is about the world. And we're in some very uncertain times, and we love to come on here and give you guys some input because we've done, me and Adam ourselves in the different type of industries, we've done successful pivots. And Adam is dealing with a lot of them. Being on the legal side, imagine how many businesses Adam is dealing with. And me, myself, I've been through so many different pivots. In my time, I've had over 23, 24 companies. So I've been through the ups and downs and the ebbs and the flows. This is kind of natural to me. I'm used to doing it, but a lot of people don't see the natural aspect of it. And there's actually a very bright side to this all. And I'm sure we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So I'm going to kick it off really quick. At the end, we're going to actually ask you guys to get us some questions for Kevin. So we would love to hear some questions so we know ahead of time, and we're going to guide through like that way. But let's go ahead and start off with what we're going to talk about, which is pivoting. And I'm going to go ahead and ask Adam a really great question. So right now, Adam, you're seeing a lot of companies go under. You're seeing a lot of companies having, here's the thing, it's a choice to pivot right now too. It's not just a have to. So what can you tell me, because this is something that I'm going through with my different businesses and everything, and I'm seeing a lot of friends. So some people are forced to pivot, and some people are naturally pivoting because they're like, okay, where's the money going now? Or where's their actually business now? Can you show us a little bit of the two separations that you're seeing with entrepreneurs and businesses between they're forced to do it, or they're going to basically go out of business, or they are going out of business? And then the other ones that are like, oh man, these are actually tremendous times to take opportunity. There's a huge opportunity here. Can you give us a little insight on the two different sides?
Yeah, I mean, just as a foundational matter, pivoting, what that means is actually having an intention or a business style or business setup, and then shifting gears for one or more reasons. And I think you covered both sort of sides of the spectrum, Jonathan, because of, let's say, being forced to, or because you see an opportunity to sort of shift gears and take your business into a different direction. So I think with COVID-19, there have been a number of things that have brought things at the forefront. And the first thing is people are inevitably going to be able to, or going to be using more technology and they're not going to be able to be in person as much because of the social distancing requirements. So how has that affected business, and how have businesses taken advantage of that by pivoting and maybe seeing that as an opportunity that they can maximize? Yeah. I think we're seeing it at the forefront with technology-based companies who have been promoting this for a long time and saying you can accomplish just as much as possible, if not more, remotely through the use of technology. You can conduct business meetings through Zoom and other technology like that. And you don't have to travel. You don't have to take a flight. You don't have to spend money on that. And you're saving money. You're saving time too. So those companies have already sort of set that up, and now that they're improving on it. They're improving on it. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have companies that just didn't know what to do, could not adjust, could not pivot. And many of them are currently out of business, or they're scrambling. They're getting very close to that stage where they have not been able to find a solution to deal with the current climate.
Were you able to see that Facebook did basically, and I think this was based on local businesses, and it was like 38% of the people they surveyed were like their businesses went out of business. Did you see that? Like that was like, I was just like, whoa, 38%, you know, like local physical. I think they were physical, not the digital e-commerce and digital aspect. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So, I mean, who knows if people are going to be able to reinvent themselves, or maybe it's too late to pivot. But I have seen both sides. There are a number of legal issues that pop up, you know, when you start shutting down your business or laying off employees. And I've been dealing with that heavily behind the scenes and helping companies, you know, if they're going to shut down, do it in a compliant manner, be respectful to your employees, you know, be nice to people in general. But yes, I have seen both sides of the spectrum, and it's a challenging time, but it's an opportunistic time as well. So I think you just need to think with that opportunistic mentality and see this as the perfect time to pivot into something that addresses the needs of the current climate. With that said, what have you been seeing with respect to your respective industries that you're working closely on, and including Pitch Investors Live?
Yeah, so I mean, like during these times, it's like we call it a pivot. Sometimes, like you just said, you have to like reinvent yourself. One of the things that, and I think I spoke slightly about this last time, was that I remember when I went to go I wanted to go get a haircut, and I went to the shopping plaza, and the shopping plaza is usually huge, up and coming. Basically, there's bars, there's restaurants, like it's hip, and everything is open and everything is going. And I was walking through there, and there was like 50% of the businesses were shut down, and it seemed like about 50% of those were literally out of business. And I'm just looking and I'm like, what the hell? And the only thing that was going through my mind at the time, and I just couldn't believe it. It was just like surreal walking, you know, through this whole area, like, and just everything was so shut down. And then the restaurants that were open, they had like curbside business, so they had to reinvent themselves. Everyone's Uber Eats, Delivery Dude, Grubhub, you know, like you saw how digital they had to be. These companies, they never had that before. That was never there before. They now had to do it. You know, I love speaking to the business owners too of what they're doing during these times. You know, like there was two guys that were sitting in front of another place, and they said they literally weren't even getting paid. They literally weren't even getting paid. They just didn't want to be home, and they didn't want the business to go out of business. And they were just regular employees, not even getting paid or what they were. Like maybe they'll get tips or something like that, but like literally not even getting paid. And what came up for me is during this time, like a lot of people, what will end up happening, and this is what's happening right now, businesses will cut the fat. Okay, so if you do have a business that is not going out of business, you'll quickly realize you have to cut the fat on so much stuff that wasn't necessary. So like there's so many different apps and just things that happen in general that are not necessary that you're going to completely clean out. Okay, so a lot of these extra services that were just not needed. If you're a service that was just kind of cool, but it wasn't necessary, you're going to be hurting right now. like straight up. Like that's a huge part about it. So for us, it's like, you know, we definitely saw where we could clean the fat off of our different companies. And then secondly, obviously at Pitch, like we've literally, we haven't done a complete pivot. We're still in the way that we're doing, but we're actually branching off into something new. And as you know very well, Adam, and everything like that, we're actually launching a Shopify store. Right now, e-com, like, you got to see where the money is going, right? So I always look at it in the way that, like, where's the money going? Where are people right now? Everyone's actually shopping online. They're forced to shop online. They're getting comfortable shopping online. They're going digital, like you were talking about. Like, they're really going digital. People are getting comfortable with it. So for Pitch, we're completely reestablishing a new way to shop so that any entrepreneur out there can buy gear, right? So they can buy hats, they can buy this, they can buy templates for pitch decks. We're going to allow other entrepreneurs to actually have their services, as long as we approve them, on our store. So for any entrepreneur trying to raise money, grow their business, learn what's going on in the business realm, they can literally go into a store, like if they're shopping for clothes, and they could purchase everything that they need, which is a really cool concept. And, you know, we're doing that because, you know, that's a new way to do it. Entrepreneurs also don't have as much money. There's not as much businesses that are going to go and spend these extra expenditures. So we've actually shifted in that dynamic. Our other company basically is an e-commerce one, and we had to do a pivot in that one to see the things that are going to be needed during these type of times. We did launch like another e-commerce store that dedicates itself to helping people during these times and everything. So, I mean, like, we've just seen where it's all about attention, right? It's all about attention and value. So you got to figure out, where's the attention going, where's the value being provided, and actually where's the money right now? Because the money is not disappearing. You know, one of my favorite things to say is, like, the money is not disappearing. It not only is it not disappearing, it's changing hands and it's changing direction, but there's a crazy amount of money being printed. Guys, there's so much money being printed. Like, this is I believe, Adam, I don't know what you think about this, but I literally believe that this is going to be the time where you're going to see such great expansion within, like, entrepreneurs, businessmen, startups, you know, that position them correctly, because there's a huge aggregation of wealth to a complete different side than there was before. And then you mix it together with technology and how fast it's getting. Like, you guys don't understand how lucky you are to actually be living in these type of times. Like, I'm super excited because I think the future is crazy bright, and we get to experience this. And I think this is going to be bigger. Once we get out of this, it's going to be bigger, I believe, than the tech bubble and the .com boom. I believe it. So.
And I think this is all sort of being brought in our path as part of our experience and as part of a learning experience. And, you know, what are we going to take away from this now? What are companies going to take away from this now to help sort of build their business for the future? Is now a time to pivot, or is it too late? I always say, look, if you're still in business and let's say the revenues are starting on the decline or going down on the declining path, you need to figure out something, because it ain't working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
dude,
get the right people. I always tell people this, like, get the right people around you, because you don't know everything. Okay. Nobody knows everything. And there are people that can supplement your strengths and that can help you on that pivot. Maybe there are businesses or there are consultants out there that have helped companies do the pivot that you're looking to do. And the great thing with Pitch Investors Live and some of the people that you and I surround ourselves with is, you know, we're all looking to help each other, and we all know different things, and we all are involved in different industries. So if there's someone out there that needs help or that needs another perspective, I think that's so valuable to have so many different perspectives around you. And that these are people that may say no to you. They may disagree with you. They may tell you your business is going to die, and that may not be something you want to hear. Okay. But it may be something that you need to hear, and you need to take into account somebody else's perspective, because as a business owner or as a founder of a company, sometimes you're too deep into it emotionally that you're not seeing what everybody else is seeing. Okay. You're emotionally attached to, it's like having a baby. You're emotionally attached to the baby. You need to see it grow. You need to see it thrive. And you might be doing a crappy job as a parent, but in your eyes, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, you don't even know. Yeah, you don't even know what you're doing wrong. without having those people counter and challenge you. You know, the people that counter you and challenge you, sometimes those are the best people to have in your space, right?
Yeah. So I would say that if you're a business right now, let's say the revenues are going on the downward trend, it's not too late to pivot. It's not too late to find the opportunity, which may be out of your comfort zone. You know, that's a big thing to keep in mind. I know, Jonathan, you always touch on this is, you know, sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone to see growth and to see opportunity and to see things you weren't ordinarily seeing, and just don't do it before it's too late. So, Jonathan, can you kind of touch on that and you know, experiences you've had sort of getting outside your comfort zone and maybe listening to people who were disagreeing with you and telling you that what you were doing was wrong?
Oh man, I mean, this is a great subject. So I remember the time where like everything just started to take off. Okay, so this was literally when I turned 33 years old. Okay, so like basically 3 years ago, turned 33. I was in Silicon Valley, and you know, I wanted to see all the tech giants and what was going on. I love technology, and I remember that I made a pact with myself, no one else but myself. And what I said to myself was, I am going to get way out of my comfort zone like I've never seen before, like way out of my comfort zone. Like I'm talking about like when speaking engagement comes in, I'm just going to fly and go do it. If someone offers me a crazy opportunity, I'm just going to go do it. Obviously, there has to be rationale behind it. Just don't go do crazy stuff. But yeah, like it was about that. It was about putting myself out there, socially, events, and just literally like going out into the world and giving it my all. And I have to say, like that very year after I made that pact, I even put it on Facebook. It's on Facebook and everything. And you guys, if you see the growth that has happened after that, it's been crazy. Like, I don't know if you ever saw that video, Adam, that I made, but like, dude, it's like literally everything I said I was going to do, we did. And like, it was crazy. Like, it's just like, I put it out because one of the things that Conor McGregor says and other great authorities, you know, even philosophers of the day of ancient times, let's say, put it out there for the world to know because it holds accountability. So if you say you're going to go and do this, you got to go out and do it. Because if not, you're going to be in trouble. You know what I mean? Like people are going to be like, oh, that guy just is full of it. He's not doing it. You know, so like you'll see like Conor McGregor, he became so damn famous because he put it out there what he was going to do down to the round that he was going to knock someone out. And basically he had no other choice but to do it or he was going to look like a fool. I was actually watching. I don't know if you saw Adam. Have you seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan and the Bulls, dude?
Of course.
Dude,
yeah.
Oh my God! This is, if anyone hasn't seen that, oh my God, it's freaking ridiculously awesome.
Did that kind of like inspire you a little bit to see basically, you know, that just that performance? Michael Jordan was obviously in his prime doing his thing when we were both pretty young, but to just see the, you know, after the fact and grow a level of appreciation. And you can even hear it, the announcers, when they were calling the games, like they were all just like, wow, I can't believe we're watching this. That might have been the greatest shot in NBA history. If Jordan's going to leave like that, that's a great legacy to leave. And they were catching it at the moment. And now we've had, you know, 10, 12, 20 years to now look at it and appreciate it even more.
Oh, you know? It was so beautiful, you know, like it showed me. I've always been obsessed with Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Like you and me played a lot of basketball back in the days. Like we were huge basketball fans. You know, like I got bummed out. You know, that I got kicked off the team. Not kicked off. I didn't make the cut. You know, I was obsessed, which made me into a great entrepreneur. But to see like how Jordan was so much, he did the same exact thing. So like, you know, like before the funny thing, before The Last Dance, I was already obsessively watching more Jordan stuff, like all the stuff that possibly I could freaking get my hands on. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is great. I heard Eminem talking about it. But one of the things about Jordan too, is that he put himself out there too, where he would tell the players that he was playing against, I'm gonna do 50 tonight. I'm gonna do 60 tonight. And like, he would tell them that like, hey, this is what I'm about to do to you. And he would literally count backwards. So to me, it's like in these uncertain times, like what you could do is you can have a vision for what you want to create. And if you put it out there, first of all, you're going to get, like you said, you're going to get the critique, you're going to get the challenge. And it kind of tells you that, first of all, it'll help you figure out what not to do right. So when people tell me that I can't do something, or or they tell me why I can't do something, all they're doing is helping me figure out things that maybe I shouldn't do, or giving me perspective, right? They give me perspective on what I can and cannot do, which helps us figure out ways and better methodologies to do it. But I love getting the counter side, especially you and me have had a lot of conversations, Adam, and then you come from the legal aspect. So you come from a more cautionary route that basically is like, okay, these are ideas, things that you shouldn't do. And here's some ideas of what you can do. And then I can take that input and be like, okay, here's some more perspective to it. And all of a sudden we're collaborating and making something way better than it could have been. But if I took your perspective, let's say if I didn't like it, because there's stuff that I don't agree with that you talk about, obviously, and there's stuff you don't agree that I talk about. But what does that do? It helps us basically have a better product, have a better business, have a better perspective. How do you feel when that happens? Because it's like, to me, I see it as a collaboration. I don't see it as like a challenge. Some people literally will get bothered when I'll give them advice and they'll get bothered by me giving them the advice. And I'm like, man, you got to know what can go wrong. Like, let people play devil's advocate because they're helping you. They're a board that's going to help you basically get better perspective. So what's your thoughts on that, Adam?
Yeah. So I would say that, as you and I are always seeking to improve ourselves, and I mean, we're like, we read more. I mean, I'm constantly reading and listening to podcasts. I know you're doing the same. So I think like my biggest takeaway at the current moment, and it's perfect for this, is to just be as fully present as you possibly can be. Because I think the problem that a lot of people make is that they dwell on what happened in the past. They think the past is going to repeat themselves. They're so caught up in the future. What's going to happen in the future? That's what builds anxiety, is like the future is just so unknown and I can't control the future. And the past is something that gives you depression because you're still dwelling on something that happened. So I think from a business level, if you're not being present to what is currently going on now, and you're maybe reliving how well you did under past regimes and past times, which maybe gave you greater certainty, maybe didn't present you the current challenge, you're going to sort of be left behind. So this is what it is right now. Okay, what may have worked for you in the past may not work for you right now, and I think it's important to take advice from people that recognize that can come in and help you see the present moment and help you deal with the challenges that you're experiencing in the present moment. So I mean, the power of the present moment, I mean, to me, that so many different ways, I know you're big on that too, Jonathan.
Yeah, that brings up a lot of stuff for like the current times, like me and Adam will like philosophize like back and forth and everything like that. And one of the biggest things that is happening right now is that people are bringing up past experiences into the present moment. Or they'll look at the future. Okay. And this is one of the things, like, and I forgot, there was such a good quote that was by Will Smith when he made one of that. I forgot what the name of the movie was, but basically it was like, fear is not real, right? So it's like what he was basically talking about is that, being in the present moment is the best thing you could do. Because here's the thing, like, people don't grasp this concept, and it's such an important one that all the ancient philosophers until modern day philosophers talk about is you can think of the future, but you must be creating it. Okay, so there's a difference there. Okay, so if you are looking in the future and you're not creating the future, that means that you're usually contemplating the future, which means that you're actually in fear of what potentially can happen. Because now you start getting into your head, okay, which right there, once you get into your head too deep, people think thinking is the best thing you can do. People don't realize it is not. Sometimes you need to get out here. Like even Michael, let's go back to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan would be so freaking present in these games. Like he would not even remember what happened in the game after the fact because he was so present.
Flow state. It's the flow state. It's totally present and just not thinking of the outside noise. Probably not even paying attention to the fans. Just the current basket, is it going in? And actually, on the documentary, he said something like, I'm not thinking when I shoot a shot, is it going to go in or is it not going to go in?
Yeah.
I'm just shooting. You remember that? And you see,
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that, dude. I loved it.
the problem with NBA players, and certainly this can be applied in business, is, you know, they're taking a shot and they're concerned, is it going to go in, is it not going to go in? And maybe in business, people are taking chances or they're taking a risk and they're spending too much time thinking about some of the negative outcomes. And by spending so much time thinking about negative outcomes, what does that do? It multiplies, you know, it compounds.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the fear component, because they're afraid and they get into the head, and like a lot of the guys that miss, if you even like see a lot of the guys that miss their shots at the very end, they thought about it too much. It wasn't natural, and the reason that Kobe and Michael were so damn good at what they did was that they practiced so much that it was natural. That when you get into the state of being fully present, complete flow state, you know, some people call it cosmic consciousness. There's so many different names for it, right? And so many people teach about this stuff. But when you're fully present in that moment, things will just flow, and you revert back to what you've been practicing the whole time. But if you get into your head, it's the same thing that happens with entrepreneurship. You get too much in your head and you're not flowing, you're not present, you're not creating. So going back to my whole point, was that if you think of the future and you're not creating it, you're going to get yourself into fear. You're going to contemplate what you're creating. But if you know where you need to go, you're fully present, you're going to create the intention, then you're going to create the action, and then it's going to happen. Okay. And you have to feel almost like if that thing is actually happening at that moment. And if you look back at all the famous people, every single one of them, Mike Tyson, Conor McGregor, Michael Jordan, they all visualized exactly where they needed to be. And they visualized having that trophy, having 2 belts over his shoulders, having the championship belt. You know, like they literally were living that moment before it even happened. And that helped actually create it. You know, like it goes into metaphysical stuff here, but if you take a close look at it, there is no people that I have seen personally, and I've studied the greats, that haven't seen where they need to be in before it even happened. I think that's the key. Like, I don't know what you think about that, Adam, but like that's something I see over again.
One thing I do want to point out is you do not need to be Michael Jordan. You do not need to be Mike Tyson. You don't need to be Conor McGregor or any of the greats in order to do these things that we're talking about. And that's one thing that kind of took me a little while when I was studying this stuff, you know, starting 4 or 5 years ago. I always thought, you know, look at all the people that I'm reading about. Look at all the people that have had all these success stories that I'm reading about, and, you know, all the Napoleon Hill books and all his references. You know, I'm just Adam Kemper. Well, you're not just who you are who you are. And we're all sort of created, at least from the start, depending on how metaphysical you want to go, from the same place. So you can use all of these principles. Everybody can do it. Everybody can be present. You know, there's nothing that prevents you from being present. There's nothing that prevents you from writing down your goals. There's nothing that prevents you from, you know, networking with people and surrounding yourself with people that supplement and complement your strengths. There's nothing that prevents you from, you know, starting to visualize your future path and the goals that you want to take on. And that's something that I've personally put into practice, I would say, over the last couple of years. And I know you have as well. And I find it so freaking amazing that your thoughts really become, you know, sort of your true manifestations. I mean, your thoughts become your reality, basically.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be a good thing or a bad thing, you know, because you spend too much time in the fear state, then some of the things that you fear, they start appearing, you know.
Did you see the other day I posted on Facebook, because I had a conversation with someone and it came out, and I said that like thoughts provoke reality. Okay. So like, I love that term, because it's like, whatever you think of will start manifesting into the reality that you're creating, first of all, by actions and just the way that you perceive the world. So everything that you're seeing and you're experiencing will now be tuned in to the reality that you're creating in your world. First, it starts inside here, and then it shows up in the outside world. So it's like, it's interesting when I used to do a lot of like consulting for businesses and such, and they would come in because they had money issues, and they'd have like issues with their business partners and this and that. And a lot of times I never really had to touch their business. I just had to help them change their perception. because they were just so negatively impacted. They're like, oh, my business partner is screwing me. Oh, I can't make money. And it's like the conversation is like, I can't make money. I can't make money. I can't make money. I'm like, I'm like, dude, you're basically telling me that you ain't never going to make money, man. Like, you're never going to make money, because I've heard you in this conversation say it already 5-6 times. So you should change that up, right? You can change it up for benefit, where it's like I am working towards building financial stability and how to make money in my business, not I'm not making money, right? It's crazy to me. Crazy to me.
It's just, it's about like restructuring, their frame of thought, basically. I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. That's basically, thoughts being provoked from lack, a thought of lack, rather than I'm building towards my goal. I'm working towards my goal. My business is thriving, and like I'm continuing to build it. So it continues to thrive. Changing your mentality and changing your thought process can go such a long way, along with everything else that we're talking about. Because if you sit there in a place of fear, especially during a time like this, where it looks like if you spend too much time watching the news, it looks like this is the worst time in history. But it could really be the most opportunistic time. And there's so many positives to what's going on right now. We can spend an entire show talking about that. And it's for you to really sort of to frame your mind and to think about, how can I be of service and how can I be of value to people in this time, in this present moment? Not thinking about what may have worked in the past, but what can I do now that helps people? And once you have that question answered, the money will come with it. You know what I mean? It's always like you find a way to serve people, you provide a product that benefits people or a service that benefits people, that helps people, the money will always go with it. I mean, what would you say to that, Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, I think like there's some key variables that come out of that. You know what I mean? Like I think one thing that you mentioned also is like servitude, right? So like being able to serve others in servitude. So this goes for like any business owner in general, and obviously even a family dynamic. Like if you're in servitude to support others, and you bring in that positive impact type mindset, things start to just fall into place in the most easiest manner possible. It's when we start thinking more about ourselves, okay, a very narcissistic approach. And don't get me wrong, there's like a lot of people, this is a whole other subject within its own, but a lot of people see the narcissistic approach as only bad. And they see it, you have to be altruistic only. But there's actually really, I'm going to bring this part up just because it's really important, that there was a really great book, if not one of the greatest books probably written to mankind. It's called The Book of Wealth by Henry Bancroft. And this book it was written in the late 1800s, and it was only intended for actually the elite. This book was like, I think when it was first written, it was like $2,500 then. Imagine that's like in the 1800s. You had to have some major money, and he was basically a historian. And one of the things that he talked about is like he went and studied the ancient institutions, governments, the greatest men and women in history. And he came to find something very beautiful that, like, I keep this in mind in my whole theories of balance and everything like that, is that you have to have a narcissistic and altruistic mindset in combination that are equal to each other. So narcissistic meaning you have to value yourself and you have to be able to get paid for your services, time, and effort. And the altruistic is in lateral. You have to be able to give people a bunch. You have to be in servitude, right? So you have to be able to give value out to the world. If you only look at narcissism as in like, oh, it's only for a person for themselves, you're not going to understand like basically a universal law of balance, where it's like you have to have the value and you have to give it much back. Because if you don't have a narcissistic approach, in theory, everything's context. So you can't take this word out of context here. It's about making sure that you're getting the value. If you don't make money as an organization, you're gonna go bankrupt, straight up. Like there's even nonprofits have to have a very narcissistic, and this is proven in so many different books and everything, that they even have to be good business models to learn how to do it and not just take. They have to be businesses. And that's why a lot of nonprofits are actual real businesses, right? They don't just take it and gave it away, right? So and in balance in both theories, like it makes something very powerful. So like, I don't know if you've seen that like yourself, and I don't know if you want to mention this, but in Judaism, that's like something that is done in Judaism, right? Like in the Jewish community, you guys give back. There's like a certain amount of things that you do to give back. Like, is that right? Like, tell me like what exactly is done in those contexts.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's another topic for another day. But I actually wanted to just reach out to the audience who's watching this live or the recorded version. If there's a book that has inspired you or that you've read during COVID-19 that sort of helped you maybe get out of a funk, please put it down in the comments so we can share with our community. And then Jonathan and I will do the same. I know that every day I'm listening to a podcast or a book on tape. I think it's important for each of us to spend a little bit of time every day just reading something new, unrelated to our current business, but or it could be related, but just read something, help yourself grow during this time, because it's a perfect opportunity. To answer your question about the Judaism, there's a number of ways that as part of the religious practices that the Jews give away some money, what's called tzedakah, or they do like what's called a mitzvah, which is a nice deed for somebody else. So,
mitzvah.
Mitzvah.
That's great.
No, I mean, I think you touched on a lot of really good points. The next thing I really kind of wanted to talk about is Pitch Investors Live. And maybe if you can provide, let's use this as an opportunity to provide the audience with some updates as to what's going on with the app. Has Pitch Investors Live pivoted from the original vision of being a blockchain startup, which is going to utilize pitch tokens, is going to take pitches and have investors and sort of be a Shark Tank meets Kickstarter match? Has Pitch Investors Live pivoted from that? Has it improved on that? Where are we at today with Pitch Investors Live?
Yeah, so we've obviously had a lot of things. Like Pitch Investors Live has been through a lot of like roller coaster rides. You know what I mean? Like in the very beginning stages, obviously we were a lot more blockchain enabled. And as everyone knows, basically there was a lot of like regulation that got put in place. A lot of things changed. It got rather expensive to do a lot of the stuff that we would have done otherwise. And a lot of people actually they kind of just wanted to back off completely from that space. And that's actually what a lot of people did, or people left the United States to start some of these companies. So we are actually still now pushing the app. We just launched our 2.0 version of our app actually last month. We called it, the crazy part about this is that this was called the Black Swan launch. So the Black Swan launch, this is an internal meeting. This is not something that was external, but basically the Black Swan was the 2.0 version of the app going live, which means that we added AI matchmaking. Okay, so we have like real AI matchmaking. We have now a discovery wall where you can see a lot of things going on in the app. That was needed. I wish we had that from the beginning, but hey, it takes time. We added a collaboration wall, which, guys, if anyone's out here, I would love for you guys to go into the app itself. You'll be able to see where the collaboration wall is, and it's kind of like a little bit like a Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter type feed. And then there's investors out there. There's entrepreneurs, startups, advisors, and people having conversations. And that's a great place, instead of going on Facebook or the other platforms, to find very like-minded people. So if you want some growth, that's a place to go. Our app is free. Download it, Pitch Investors Live, and go on the collaboration wall. So we added that component, and then now we started running traffic. So we actually started getting a lot of traffic from all around the world. And what we're doing now is we're working on getting more investors to take pitches. We're also thinking about, we're not 100% sure, but we're thinking of having another pitchathon. So we had that one, we had like 70 pitches in a day, which was freaking awesome. So we're thinking about having another one next month. We're just trying to see how exactly we're going to do this and the capacity. Because, if we want to do this, we want to do it bigger. We want to do like 200, 250 pitches in a day. And we obviously have to make sure the technology is there as support. So that's something we're thinking about. Secondly, when it comes to the blockchain aspect and the tokens, one of the big things that we want to accomplish is our tipping. Okay, so the tipping is like a huge component to basically start off and kick off some amazing stuff. So we've been adding payment channels. We actually partnered with one of the most exciting projects in Ethereum, which is called Connex. So we're officially partnered with them to be able to bring this technology to life. And that's really exciting. It's taken a little bit longer than we wanted, for sure. But that is in the works. It's working pretty cool. You'll literally, the whole point of this is pretend that I'm like an investor. Adam is an entrepreneur. He's pitching me, and you're a member of the audience. You'll be able to send pitch tokens as basically a gratitude gift over to Adam or myself as the live is happening. And you'll literally see it, kind of like if you guys remember Periscope and the bubbles and the hearts would come up and everything like that. You'll be able to see live people getting these, and it's really good because there's a lot of value. I mean, if we even can, I'm wondering, Adam, what if we can actually do it for the Pitch the World. You know what I mean? And you guys could tip us. What's up? You know what I mean? Like that would be like really cool just for fun. You know what I mean? Like the thing is you could send very little fractions of cents and stuff like that of value if you're getting value, and it's a gift. And this is happening in gaming, and actually believe it or not, the porn industry, it blew up. Then it went into gaming. Now there's a bunch of different industries that are taking it on. You know, it's surprising what industries bring technologies to life first. So that's a pretty big update on that one.
Let me ask you this. Who is the target audience for Pitch Investors Live? Because I know that there's a lot of people that are fearful with public speaking, for example. They're fearful to get in front of a setting like this where it's going to be live broadcast, and maybe they just don't have everything together at that point. Is that an ideal demographic, or tell us about the audience reach?
That heads up into like the next thing I was going to announce, that basically that we're launching a Shopify store. So guys, we are officially launching next week. I think literally on the 27th, I think it is. We're going to have our grand opening for the Shopify store. It's going to be fully complete, but it's going to have a lot of cool products. And what we're going to do is we're going to allow people that are kind of scared, you know, so if they're startups, our demographic is basically entrepreneurs, startups, from the very beginning idea stage all the way to like, hey, if you're actually trying to raise, you know, a Reg D, all the way up to Series A, because of the type of investors we have on board, we can help you. There's different packages. Obviously, they're going to be different. But one of the really cool things is on the site itself, if you are a beginning entrepreneur, we're going to provide very cheap. Okay, that's one thing that we knew that we had to do with this whole economic downturn together with the pandemic, is that we're going to have stuff that's like, you know, $7 products. We're going to have some $9 products, $10, $20, $30, just so they're very consumable and everything. And there'll actually be some free stuff too. We're gonna add a lot of free material through our app. So these are for people that are from the very idea stage onto like, hey, I'm ready to raise money, or you know what, I am ready to pitch and I need actually help and support. And you guys may have a coach to basically help them out. I think that's like a big thing, Adam, because you know, people are very scared to public speak, or like that they're gonna get their pitch wrong. And it's like, you know what? The best thing is to just do it. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like, hey, stop thinking about it. Go and put yourself out there. It doesn't have to be perfect. The worst thing that can happen, okay, is that someone tells you how you can do it better, or you get feedback to know it better. Like there's nothing gonna happen where it's gonna ruin your business or your reputation by taking a pitch too early. Like to me, that's a ridiculous reason to think that you can't pitch. Sometimes, and we have some of the services to help you provide to be ready enough. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, right?
Yeah, and I think for people that are considering whether or not to pitch, or maybe they've already pitched and they didn't get the investment that they sought, not to be dissuaded from trying it again. Because all you're going to do with this is get more experience. You're going to get better at your pitch. You're going to learn from each one. Maybe you're going to change your valuation on your business. Maybe you're going to change the pitch. Maybe you're going to actually, address what the investor really wants to hear. Maybe you're going to take some comments from the audience that have helped you with your pitch. Yeah. So the great thing about Pitch Investors Live, in my view, is there's literally no downside to trying. You know, the worst that can happen is you have the experience and you learn from it. That's literally the worst that can happen from it. The best that can happen is you start getting a following. You start getting good advice. You get invested, you start selling more of your products or services. What I mean, to me, it's like a no-brainer. You know, it just you got to get over the fear part of it, and you just you can't live through, like you can't keep reliving through maybe what you perceive to be a bad experience where you didn't get investment or didn't get exactly what you're looking for. because you did get something out of it. You're just not seeing it clearly. So I think the Shopify store is wonderful. Obviously, I've been personally involved in Pitch, so I see all the benefits of it, and I really do think it can help a lot of people out there from anywhere in the world. This is not
anywhere.
The United States. I think that's great too. Is that, I think the goal and the vision with Pitch Investors Live when it first came out is to allow someone from across the world the opportunity to pitch to an investor at any time, live, from anywhere in the world and through their computer, right?
Yeah.
And that's still the vision, right?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, here's the thing, like the reason we're opening the Shopify store, obviously things change and things change very quickly, okay? So we know that entrepreneurs and startups don't have money to have the extra resources and they need education. So what a better way than to have a store where you can buy gear, let's say if you want, just for fun and everything like that, but have snippets of stuff that you can get. First of all, there's going to be free stuff. There's going to be very cheap stuff to learn how to do all this stuff during these uncertain times. And we're going to give the opportunity for people that come on Pitch Investors Live to even have their products on the store itself, which is even cooler. Like sometimes you can't get traffic. We're going to have the traffic and you can utilize that yourself. So, you guys should see about reaching out to us because we can get people's products, people's courses, people's services on the store. It's going to be a whole slew of it, which is going to interact with the app and give people the ability to be able to get on, pitch some investors and change their lives. Because that's what it's about. The whole reason we started is to basically change lives from around the world. That's still our intention. We have right now, these last 2-3 weeks, we've had the most app downloads ever. So on our app. So we're continuing that process and just like optimizing as we go. But like our user acquisition has been huge these last 2-3 weeks. That's another big update within itself. So like now we're trying to find ways to get more investors to be able to sustain all these new users that are coming onto the platform and everything like that.
So I mean, in addition to pitching, I think it's important to highlight that the Shopify store will allow people who may already have a product or a service that they're selling, but an opportunity to list it in a different platform where Pitch Investors Live will help you sell, right? And help you scale.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, what's better than that? Like sometimes if you're able to put your product, let's say on Amazon, that is getting organic reach and they're getting actual eyeballs on your product, it just sells on its own. Okay, now they have algorithms that don't allow you to see certain things and you have to have certain commotions, but that's how it was before. Same thing with eBay in the beginning stages. Imagine that's going to be just exactly like it is for us. So if anyone has any type of service, product, or that they want to put on, we'll vet it obviously first and everything like that. And then it's going to go on as one of our, like little partners and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that for sure, man. For sure.
So anybody who's listening right now or is watching the recording has an interest in listing their product or service, how can they get in touch with you, Jonathan?
You guys can reach out to both Diana at pitch.ventures or info at pitch.ventures, or you can do it at pitchinvestorslive.com, either one of the two. And then you can just reach out to us. And basically, if you want us to help support you on that type of stuff, we come from a background of a lot of e-commerce experts. We've made lots of money online through the e-commerce platforms, and we know how it works. We've helped people, there's a lot of us that actually had courses that taught people how to do the e-commerce place, which actually some of those courses are going to be inside there too. So you'll have all kinds of stuff to teach you on your entrepreneurial journey, especially when you're ready to pivot, right? So if you're ready to pivot and everything like that, guys, guess what? This is the perfect opportunity to learn some new skills, learn some new stuff that can help you on your journey. And on our site, the launch is on May 27th. Okay, May 27th. Our grand opening becomes live, and we're going to be ready to show you guys all the cool stuff that we have. So I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys heard it here first. May 27th, next week, Pitch Investors Live at the Shopify store.
Yeah. So, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. So just as we wrap up here, just some final thoughts for the audience, for people listening in that maybe don't understand what pivoting means or are not sure what to do with respect to their current situation. What are some of your final thoughts?
Yeah, so and I'm gonna look in the questions here really quick. There's a few people that were talking and everything like that. So on it, Andrew Goddard, I think he's like on it. He said he's on his way down to Miami and everything like that. We have someone here, Fox Casanova. I love that name, by the way. Generating peace and well-being in regards to life and business. Me and Adam always talk about, like, we want to talk more about, the philosophical concepts, not just, like business and strategy in the mind. Like, people don't get it. There's so much of a bigger game to be played here. So I'm gonna fall through with that. During these times of uncertainty and great opportunity, because that's what's happening right now. Like you're either forced to change or you have the opportunity to change. And I think no matter what business you have, even if your business is killing it and everything, like, you should literally be thinking about how to reinvent yourself and how to pivot or let's say, like, start a new objective, just because everything is so radically different. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be doing something different. The radicalness that I'm seeing right now is just beyond anything I've ever seen. So it's like, get very in tune with what you really want to build for the future. Again, that vision, like, what do you want to create? Where is it that you want to be? Is what you're doing right now, because even if you're making money, doesn't mean that you're literally in the proper place. You may not be making any money. Where do you want to be? And position yourself there and envision what you need to do to get there. Earl Nightingale said it the best. It's like, if you're in a ship in the if you're trying to get to the United States from Europe and you're a ship captain, you have to know exactly what you need to do to get there. And if you know it, 99.9% of the time, you're going to get there. It just doesn't always show up exactly in that manner. So it'll zigzag around and it'll be crazy and ups and downs, but you're going to get there. And to me, that's like a key component in this new time. So, that's important for me. And Adam, if you want to leave one last thought right there, and then, had a really fun time here with you and everything, and let's leave some power with you.
Always. Yeah, I mean, my last piece of advice is something that we spent some time talking about, which is, sort of getting out of the fear-based mindset or the lacking mindset. And by, start paying attention to the things you're saying and the things that you're thinking about, because you may not even know that you're doing it. You may not even know that the things you're saying are coming from fear or coming from lack. And if you just maybe get somebody, an outsider, to help you kind of reframe them for you. I'm not making enough money. I'm making sufficient money now, and I look forward to making more in the future. That's just like a way to kind of reformat that. So to get out of the lack mindset, to get out of the fear-based mindset, and to be fully present to the moment, because there's a lot of good things you can do, and it all starts with the way you think about things. So that I'm just going to leave it with that.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Like we were talking a lot about presence, guys. We're talking about how to pivot, how to get creative with what you're doing. But all you guys, good luck with everything. We appreciate you guys coming on here. Make sure that you guys, if you haven't downloaded our app already, Pitch Investor is live. Go ahead and do that. We have a collaboration wall where you can talk to great, smart people, big investors and everything. I'm on there, guys. I'll answer questions from you guys. If you have any questions for me and Adam, obviously ask them here. If you have questions for Kevin Harrington in 2 weeks, go ask him in the commentary. I would love for you guys to comment stuff on our collaboration wall for me or Adam, and anyone on the pitch team on our collaboration wall. So we greatly appreciate all your guys' time. Adam, always super fun coming on here. You know what I mean? We had to pivot today, right? That's what we had to do.
That's right. Learn on the fly. Stay present, guys. Take care.
Take it easy, guys. Everyone have a great